One of the things that we need to do is continue to act locally and think locally, right? And I know that this is probably old hat and it's something that people always say, but it is more important now, probably, than ever, to think locally. Run for your local sheriff's office in your county, right? Like, do something. Go to the school board meetings. Make sure CRT doesn't get into your classrooms. Join your local ANC commission. Like in DC, we have these small neighborhood advisory groups. Like join those things. You got to do something. But I think the bigger picture, the more strategic picture, is that all of the institutions that we have relied upon have been captured, right?
Yeah.
They've been captured, and they're not coming back. The media is not coming back. Corporations are not coming back for now, at least. The universities aren't coming back, and popular culture probably not coming back either. So we need to build parallel institutions, and not institutions, but now we have to build networks, right? That's the new evolution away from institutions is towards networks. And so it's never been more important now to be thoughtful and mindful and intentional about the networks that you build. And I don't just mean your personal networking, like old school, like business networks. I mean, like, we need to look towards networks to provide education. We need to look towards networks to help us provide health and medical services. We need networks to provide business and professional opportunities. Hell, with crypto, and I'm not an expert, but you can even use networks to build your own currencies that you believe in, that you have value. You need to build communities where you can live, work, and play with people that share your values. Now, listen, guys, I understand that this is not going to be the only answer before the comments are filled up with all kinds of things like they're going to Waco you, they'll Ruby Ridge you. Yeah, I understand all of that, but it's like, okay, so they're going to do that. We know that there's going to be a new Waco coming, right? So what, you're just going to not act because that may happen? No, you still have to keep doing it. You still have to build. You still have to create, and you still have to sort of resettle. I've been using this phrase, resettle the American frontier. We need to resettle the actual physical American frontier by moving to places that respect your rights and will have networks of sheriffs like they did in Virginia, who stood up and said, if you pass these laws in the Capitol, we will not enforce them. You need to find places like that. And people are moving there. But not only that, we also have to resettle the information frontier. We need to develop networks and systems that are off these main highways where you can maintain communications with people. Like Liminal Order for us, we use a highly an encrypted, secure, end-to-end encrypted, offline, totally private, ephemeral messaging system, and we'll never be separated. Not only we have that, we have email lists, we have websites, we've got snail mail, we've got phone numbers. There's so many ways that you can communicate and build your network that don't rely on using Twitter or Facebook or even YouTube. And we're going to have to continue doubling down on that. And, they always said, build your own, build your own. Okay. And so they did. And Amazon Web Services, Google and Apple connect in concert to get rid of you. But there are ways, and we have human ingenuity, and we will figure out ways to get around those systems. But like, localism was a thing of the left, if I remember a few years ago. Eat local, live local, right? And now it's more of a thing on the right. It's like you gotta establish your local networks for food, for medical services, for education, for everything, because all the other institutions are corrupted. And we're just at a point where there's no playbook, dude. There's no playbook for this. There's nothing. There's no circumstance in the past. Sure, there was political, cultural, civil, racial, whatever circumstances that were similar, but you add in the tech side, and there's never been a moment like this in time. And so we're gonna have to just create a whole new system and think with our big brains, Chris. Do we have it in us, man? We do, don't we?
I think we do, and I think we have it in us. And I think your point about the kind of local networks and in real life networks. I mean, I've certainly have been thinking a lot about that, having moved out of a big city to a very small town, less than 10,000 people. And the difference is enormous. And I think if a lot of kind of affluent, educated, ambitious, conservative people living in the big cities, feeling alienated, feeling afraid, feeling unable to kind of express themselves, it's a good option to kind of just hit the eject button and get out into a different kind of community. And I'll tell you, my wife was really sick, and a couple of months ago was in the hospital for a week. And the community here, people that I had just met, months prior, they organized bringing food to me and our kids every night. Different group of people come organizing food, bringing over groceries, bringing over dinners, trying to help us out, seeing if we need anything, bringing, care package to my wife in the hospital. And it's like those networks, even of just your neighbors, when you have kind of similar values and you're like-minded, it's enormously powerful. And, I went from living where a lot of people, would get so mad if I was on Tucker Carlson or whatever, to like my neighbors now who are like, oh, dude, I saw you on Tucker last night. Amazing job. Like high five. Yeah. And that like just liberates you. It frees your mind of all of those kind of, all of those things that you're just like, kind of preparing in your head to confront or even kind of just being kind of judicious in what you say and what you don't say to people. It's kind of opens up. And I think your idea of resettling the interior, right, or the frontier, in a lot of ways, is one that's wise. And I think that 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it didn't really matter, honestly. Living in the Bay, and I lived in Berkeley, I lived in LA, and it's like your politics. It didn't really matter. Your politics are fine. You can't say everything, but you can never really say everything anyways. It has changed. It's changed in the last few years, and I think that you need to be willing to kind of make changes. And I don't know. What about you? I mean, what is 2021 looking like for you? How are you going to kind of implement some of these policies?
We're doing it, man. The Liminal Order was designed in response to this very matter and these issues. And so we have created a very intentional network that spans the country. In fact, it spans the globe. And we're adding people at a rate where I can't even keep up. We've thousands of people on the waiting list, and we can only manage to process about 40 or 50 new entrants every month, and we're really working hard at that. Wow. And one of the things about the LO that has just been amazing has been, well, one is the sense making, just being able to make sense of the world and have actionable intelligence and actionable data to save your life. We knew Corona was coming months before any shutdowns, and so people were really prepared. And so that was one element I was thinking about when I said that your networks can make you healthier, right? And then just like the community aid element of the LO has been amazing, because like we've had guys go through personal crisis or somebody was sick, or we had somebody who had like had a miscarriage, and we raised money for them in like 5 minutes, raised a few $1,000s, and we bought them groceries, or we sent them, nice. Food, or we did something to help them solve a problem immediately. And, I'm not slagging on everybody's church community, but the one thing that struck me when this guy was very thankful. He said to me, everybody around me has said, let me know if we can help. Let me know what we can do. And he said that guys in the Liminal Order didn't ask. They just acted.
Yeah.
They just acted. And so I'm not trying to slag on anybody else. I'm just saying that like, if you got to put yourself in an intentional community, everything has to be intentional now. I feel like in the past, you could sort of accidentally just find yourself in a good spot. Because there were good spots sort of all over the place. But now you have to be very careful, and you have to be very deliberate. And it's a travesty to say that we have to watch what we say. And I have neighbors, who I know are very active politically on the left. We don't ever talk about anything, man. All we do is we just say, and we don't know, like they don't know about me really. We just say, hey, how are you? Have a great time. We're very nice. But like if they knew, I think that the story would be, a lot different. And so intentionality is something that's going to be important for us moving forward, and just sort of building. We have to build. We have to put down roots. Eventually, this is going to come to a head, whether it's 4, 5, 10, 20 years from now. This is going to come to a head, and there is going to be destruction. And I don't mean necessarily human lives, but I do mean institutions, and I do mean corporations, and I do mean networks, and I do mean professional careers, etc. So we want to build something that's going to be standing when that happens, right? We're beginning the process of root building and construction now. Yeah. So that in time, if it needs to be, we will be ready and we will be, set up. And I think technology provides us an opportunity. Technology provides both the source of the problem, which is we're in different tribes, but we live next door to each other. Yeah. And then it also provides opportunity in that you can be part of a community that doesn't have that isn't about just where you are living locally. And so while technology has brought on a lot of problems, it is also sort of the way out in some ways. Yeah. And that's what we've been doing, man.